Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. This is the final session of the part of Tech Club that we call Grain of Salt, because like so many things that involve scams and issues and problems, things that seem too good are too good, and we believe you should take everything with a grain of salt. So we've been through several online discussions concerning verifying information, concerning checking websites, publications, etc., with the help of KU's journalism school with Jim Barnes from Our Things, and we're going to finish it off tonight with this live presentation. So, as I said, thanks for coming again. I want to take just half a second, since this is the last Tech Club of the season. Normally, we're kind of shut down for Tech Club in June, July, and August, and we've continued this program. So we will be starting again in September. For those of you who are kind of Tech Club aficionados, we'll be back with a new series then. And I won't be there. Well, I'll be there, but I'll be on your side of the screen, not on this side of the screen. As many of you know from the email, we have found a new visionary for the retroactive, and it will be her visions that will take you forward. Laurel Lewis is over here joining us tonight. Welcome her warmly. The biggest problem is I've been training her on things, so you'll see a lot of the same mistakes without the typos. Please, give her a little room, like you did me, to kind of get through the issues and the problems and whatever. And I'm sure you're going to have I'm sure we're all going to have a terrific direction going forward. So I don't want to take up too much time with my chit-chat. So I'm going to go directly to the introductions. We are very fortunate tonight to go right to the source. We have with us this evening the Douglas County Sheriff, Jay Armbruster, and he's going to do his presentation on scams and scam calls, and I'm just going to turn the mic over to him. Once again, when we get to questions, keep in mind that we have a hearing loop and we are recording this, so that if you have a question and you're recognized, wait till some little guy named Jack comes running over with a microphone. I'll hand it to you, and then ask your question if you don't mind doing that. Thanks very much. Welcome.
All right. Thank you very much. So like you said, my name is Jay Armbruster. I am your sheriff here in Douglas County. A familiar room, nonetheless. One of my old bosses is here. One of my old teachers is here. One of my favorite humans is over here. So it's very nice to be here. I actually grew up kind of running around this library. My aunt worked here for like 150 years or something. When I was out of school, I'd ride with her, work with her, and I'd stamp all the overdue things, send them out to people. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about scams. So I don't want to generalize and say that one group is getting hit with scams more than others. But it's actually true. The seniors, the retirees, the community, they are getting targeted with these scams. And these people are extremely good at what they do. So raise your hand if you've ever had a scam or had a phone call or had something. I would say, and if you don't raise your hand, it means you weren't paying attention. So we've all had it. I've even got some text messages and stuff in here that I've had on my phone. My mom just got 2 of them the other day, and she did a great thing. She actually brought her phone to me and says, I just got these 2 emails. What are they? And it said that she owed money. So we looked at it, and I showed her why it was a scam. And I was so proud of her and I told her to go tell all of her friends, do not give your money out. So we've got several different scams that are hitting everybody. So I want to kind of go across some of those, but I also want to kind of zero in on some that are aimed more towards your retirement age folks. So this one is a screen grab off of a cell phone, and right here it's just this box right here. And basically what it is, it's from USPS, your postal service, saying that you've got a package that they are trying to deliver and they can't get it to you. Nowadays, we're all getting packages all the time. But what they're wanting you to do is they're wanting you to click on a link down here. So here's what it's got the USPS logo. It looks legit. Don't click on it. So here's the things to look for. The number one thing is up at the top, right up here, the email address that this came from is just a bunch of gobbledygook at eflyobsizor.on something. If it's from the Postal Service, it should come from packages at usps.org.gov. It should be from something you recognize. That's not recognizable. The other thing is, and some of the other ones will show you, read them through because they'll have broken English in them. They'll just have things that you'll be like, this doesn't even pass the eye test. So what I would suggest to you on this one is, because normally, like at any time I could get this and think, oh my gosh, my daughter, my wife, I've ordered something. But what I would do on this one, call the post office. Just call your local post office. Say, hey, I got this email, I got this text message says I have a package. And they're gonna say, it's a scam. What's your name, what's your address? We don't have anything for you, don't click on it. That's a scam. So what I want you to walk away from here tonight is two things. Be skeptical, have somebody else verify it. Trust but verify, I think is what President Reagan said. This is one that I got personally on my phone, so this was to me from an unknown number. It was a text message. 347 area code is New York City. And living in Lawrence, growing up here, I know that Truity CU, they're trying to say Truity Credit Union, is a real thing. Maybe I bank there, maybe I don't. But what this is asking me is, did you attempt a Square charge, which is like, if you go to like Art in the Park, you know, vendors, independent vendors, they use the little chip readers, and those go through Square, and it'll come back, it'll show up as a charge in SQ, and then has some stuff. So what they're asking me is, did I do this? And here's what, this is basically the template for 1,000 other scams. And I'm here to tell you, we're coming up on 2 months ago, a couple who was in their retirement, living out in the county, had something similar to this. They lost $90,000, $90,000 to a $329 scam. So the thing to be skeptical here is, again, this website that they're wanting you to click on. It's medukacija.com/TruityCU. So if you think, first off, this text message is not going to hurt you. If it comes in on your phone, it is not going to do anything. It's not going to infiltrate your phones. It's not going to steal your information. Delete it. Just delete it. If you know it's a scam, delete it. Now, you bank at Truity. You did just make a purchase somewhere. Something in here looks vaguely familiar. Call Truity. Super simple. And I guarantee you, whoever answers the phone is going to answer, and you're going to say, I just got a text message about a charge for you guys, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, we've had 50 people call today. Thank you for calling. Don't click on it. It's a scam. So be skeptical. Have somebody else look at it. Verify. So these things take, what they do is they're trying to take advantage of your good nature. They're also trying to induce panic. So, and we're going to get to another scam about jury duty, where that's their absolute tactic, is to get you off center and get you kind of chaotic. But what I'm here to tell you is that that money, once it's gone, that 90,000 of those people lost, it is gone. We are not getting it back. Even if we know these are actors out of Russia, out of Eastern Bloc countries, out of Venezuela, out of China, we have no jurisdiction as law enforcement anywhere outside of the United States borders. If your money goes to those countries, it stays in those countries. There's nothing we can do. So that's why we're trying to get out on the front end so that you don't get, don't have any loss. Because once it's gone, it's gone. There's a lot of stuff in here. Be vigilant. That's the same thing as being skeptical. A law enforcement officer will never ask you to pay over the phone, okay? Never, ever, not ever. Even if he sounds like me and I want your money, don't give it to me, okay? We will never take money. Here's the big one that's going around, and we just had it pop back up in surrounding counties today. You're going to get a phone call. You're going to look at your phone, and it's going to say the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, because what they've done is they've routed their way through the internet, spoofed the phone number, and it looks like they're calling from our office. You're going to answer. An authoritative male is going to tell you that you just missed jury duty. You now have a warrant for your arrest. And so I cannot tell you how many times this has been successful here in Douglas County alone, much less statewide. So what they're going to do is they're going to keep you on the phone. They're going to tell you if you hang up, we're going to arrest you. We're going to be at your door and we're going to arrest you. They're going to keep you on the phone. They're going to talk you through the process of going to Dillon's, going to Walmart, going to Target, and buying a couple prepaid gift cards and then scratching the numbers off the back, giving them those numbers, and then they can grab that money off those cards through the internet, and it's gone. This has been heartbreakingly successful. We had a well, it was a panel here about a local issue, and one of our deputies was on that panel. There was an article written in the paper about it, naming the deputy. Within 48 hours, people were getting scam calls using that deputy's name because they had read the paper and they knew that that was a legitimate name, somebody who works for us. So they're very, very good at what they do, and that's the reason they do it is because they've made a lot of money at it. So again, flip side of that too is that if you do something that earns yourself an arrest warrant, we're probably not going to call you. We're probably just going to show up at your house. So that's kind of how it goes. So be extremely skeptical if somebody calls you and says you have a warrant and that you have to pay by phone, because that is absolute BS. We're not going to do that. If that happens, tell them I'm hanging up, and they're going to be like, no, we're going to come and arrest you. Fine, I'll see you in a minute. Hang up, call the sheriff's office, and we're going to walk you through how this is not an actual thing, how you did the right thing and saved yourself a bunch of money. What else is there? Personal information, financial information. Nowadays, what they want is your banking information. We've grown up, we've been taught to protect your social security number at all costs. I'm here to tell you that even if I have your social security, your name and your address, I'm not going to take any of your money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply for credit cards, do things in your name, take that stuff. You're not going to actually suffer any loss, but it's going to be a pain in the ass because then you have to go back through your creditors and you have to do all that stuff. So your social security, while you should always protect it, is not the end-all be-all. Like if somebody gets a hold of it, it's not the end of the world. Your bank account information, however, is where it all ends. And that's what happened with the folks who lost all that money. She had an email from Norton Antivirus. For any of you who remember back in the 90s when we all had PCs and they were all getting malware and spyware, you could buy Norton Antivirus and it would protect you. It's not, I don't even know if it's still around anymore, but she got an email and it said, your Norton Antivirus has expired. We have deducted your annual cost of $329 from your account. If this is an error, please click here. So what do? She clicked on it, ended up on the phone with somebody, and not only, this one, it was even tougher because she actually allowed that person to remote into her computer. So like at work, if I have a problem with my printer, I can call IT and say, hey, my printer's not working, and they'll be like, oh, what number are you at? I'll tell them the number of computer. Next thing you see is your cursor moving around, they're rooting around, fixing it. Same thing. This person was from who knows where. She remoted, let them in. She showed them where the bank account was because they said, we need to get you your money back, so we need your bank account information so we can reimburse you this. So she's like, well, I'll just show you where it's at. So it was a comedy of errors that cost some really good folks a lot of money. So I've gone through these here, but like I said, they want to They prey on your good nature because if you feel like if somebody tells you you've done something wrong, generally you try to fix it. They also want to get you in a state of chaos where you're like, oh my God, if I don't pay this right now, they're going to be at my door. They're going to show up. I've got dinner on the stove. I've got family. I've got friends here. This can't happen. So they'll talk you into doing something you wouldn't normally do. They're very good at it. So this is an arrest warrant that somebody got in the mail. If you look closely, it's not even signed by a judge. So every warrant should be signed by a judge. It's signed by an officer and an officer. It's not even a judge. But it looks legit. It has the name, has all the legalese, jargon, and whatnot in there. But again, scam. This one, is this the one? No, next one. Yeah, this one's from the Federal Trade Commission. And this one is comical if it wasn't so serious. If you read it through, we are appreciating your work and we don't want someone to take advantage of this. We are providing a digital account. This account has been accessing only. Broken English. It doesn't even pass the eye test. But again, it looks like it's from the Federal Trade Commission. It's signed by whoever Alvaro Bedoya is. It looks legitimate. It is not. It is a scam. So don't panic. Be skeptical. Have somebody else have a look at it. For me, so like my mom, she had me look at it. Me, I have my 19-year-old daughter look at it because she knows everything. But have somebody in your life, somebody that you trust, somebody who's good with technology or good with this kind of stuff. But if you don't, call sheriff's office. We would so much rather talk to you on the phone for 20 minutes than work with you for 2 hours, shutting your accounts down and explaining to you that your money's gone. So give us a call. We will always take time to help you out with that. Another scam that it hasn't been around for a while, and somebody actually just mentioned it to me earlier. It was one where a lady got a phone call, a retiree, a widower. She got a phone call at like midnight, and she picked it up from an unknown number, and it said, the person on the line said, "Grandma, I'm in jail." And she's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" She says, "Well, I wrecked my car. I need $5,000 to get out and to get my car out of the tow lot." So what does Grandma do? She helps. That's what grandmas do. That's why they prey on you. So in that situation, what had happened was, it was KU graduation that day. This young lady had posted a picture. Here's me and Grandma Josephine, or whatever her name was, at graduation. And so now, and I don't know if you noticed this, but kids put everything on the internet, because I really wanted to know what road they're driving on or what they had for breakfast. And so the scammer had Grandma's name, they had granddaughter's name, and they knew grandchild had just graduated and was probably going to do what graduates do and go out and party. So they called, they found Grandma's number, called, ran their scam, made $5,000. In that situation, and like I say, that one has subsided over the last 2 years probably. We haven't seen it. But I'm here to tell you, with AI and the stuff that they can do, that one's coming back, guaranteed. So we have to be vigilant on that. But in that situation, if you get a phone call from somebody that says that they're in jail, say, okay, I'm gonna hang up and I'm gonna call the jail. What jail are you in? If they can't tell you, then that's clue number one. But if they tell you, hang up and call the jail. We've had it happen at ours. I'm calling because my granddaughter, my grandson, so-and-so is in there. We look it up, they're not in here. Who called you? Well, they did. We haven't had anybody that's made any phone calls. So then they start working backwards. And they find out that grandson, granddaughter is at home, or they're out doing something else. They are not in jail. So be vigilant, be skeptical. That one is designed specifically to get you in a panic because you've got a family member that needs help. So I tell this story, but let's face it, it's aimed more towards the younger crowd. But specifically young men, because I don't know if you know this either, young boys and men are dumb. Super dumb. Stupid dumb. I've had this happen to me. Yeah. What you'll get, and maybe you've gotten it too, you'll get a random text message from a phone number that you do not recognize, that's not on your phone, and the one I got the other day said, "I'm running late, I'll be there in 20. Yep. So what do? Nice guy? I think you have the wrong number. Oh, hey, thank you. I'm so sorry. I thought this was so-and-so. My name is Claire. I live in Hoboken, New Jersey. What's your name? And what they do is they start a dialogue. They start talking to you. And because boys are dumb, they'll start engaging. And then eventually they'll turn to flirting. Eventually what happens, and I'm here to tell you this happens because I've had friends of mine who have called me personally that do not want to call the cops, but they want to tell me about what their son had just done and how much money it cost them. What they'll do is that person will then find an intimate photo off of the internet, send it as if it's their own, ask for one in return, and as soon as they get that one, bam, extortion. I want $500. I want $1,500 in 2 hours. Or I'm sending this photo to everybody on your Instagram page, everybody on your Facebook, everybody, all your contacts. I want it now. And what do? What happens as soon as you give them the first 500? They need another 500. So this happens. So now, I'm not saying you do or don't, but if you're gonna send pictures, know who you're sending them to. And if you have grandchildren or younger folks in your lives, tell them to be careful, because somebody is out there trying to take advantage of them. I think that's it. So we'll get to questions here in a second. The Kansas Attorney General's office is technically the one who investigates all scams. Like the 90,000 one, we did what we could do, and then we passed it on to them. They have the resources and the abilities that we may not have. If you have a question, you can always go to their website. They have a whole series of pages and stuff to answer questions about scams. But if you get a text message, if you get an email, something that you know is a scam, just delete it. You're welcome to call and tell us about it. We love hearing about what's going on. But honestly, if we got a phone call every time every person in this community got one of those, that's all we would do. But if it looks legitimate, or if you're thinking about that it might actually be something you need to do, feel free to call us, and we will walk through it. We did this at Babcock, and when it was all over, a nice lady said, you know what, I got a letter from my pharmacy provider, and I'm not sure it's legitimate. So she ran upstairs, ran as best she could, upstairs on a dead run. Got it, brought it back down. George and I sat there with our phones out, and we read through it. We Googled all the things. It was legitimate. Her medical provider had a data breach, and her information had been, somehow lost, or had been at least open to people, and they were just letting her know that that's what had happened. They weren't asking her to pay anything. They weren't asking her to do anything, but it was a 3-page, 8-point font letter that I didn't even want to read, but we had to. But that's the kind of things we would so much rather do that. My father-in-law, he came to us one day and he said, I just got this letter from Medicaid, which I don't know about you, but my mom, if she gets something from Medicaid or Social Security, she pays attention. And they are starting to use those as well. But what had happened was there was 350,000 people that actually had their data breached through the Medicaid or Medicare system. And what it was a letter saying, your data has been breached. So what we're doing is we're buying you a 1-year insurance policy in case you have any financial loss. It was just a letter. It wasn't asking him to do anything. But I was so proud of him for bringing it up to us, like, it looks legit. What do you guys think? And that's all it was. We Googled it, we read it, we looked it over, and we're like, yep, this is good. So he has an insurance policy. So, excuse me, sorry. Yeah, that's it. So I think we're to questions now.
Okay, if anybody has any questions.
The Phil Donahue in the room is going to bring the mic
Right.
to you.
I'm running around. Raise your hands. Question?
Did I age myself by that?
The question I have is, how do you get him to stop calling you?
Okay.
I get 25 calls a day.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to tell you. No-call lists don't work. Absolutely. They do not work. The no-call list, you can call and you can go on the internet and get on 1,000 no-call lists. They're still going to call. What they're doing is they're simply calling batches of numbers, starting at 000001 all the way down to 999-999. They just call every number. They send a text message to every number. There's no way to keep that from happening. Your phone has the report junk and stuff, but here's what I do nowadays. If it's somebody I don't know, if it comes from a number, I don't answer it. If it's important, they'll leave me a message. If it's somebody I do know and I don't want to talk to, if it's important, they'll leave me a message. But if it's a text message, again, read it over, and if it looks like BS, delete it. You know, that's all there is to it. So I wish I could tell you there was something you could do. I really don't know what it is. And if somebody else knows better, please let me know. Yes, ma'am.
One that is legitimate, I got an email telling me that Social Security was having a new login. I did not click on the link. I went to the social, and even, I still wouldn't click on the link because it might be a scam look-alike website, knowing that they're
So
really
proud of
doing
you.
this. I went to the Social Security website, and they are going to change to a Social Security
Yep.
secure login or ID me.
Sure.
But I wouldn't do it through the email.
Yep.
I would go right to the site.
Yeah,
and do
so
it.
a good thing to do, that's the perfect thing to do, is go to the Social Security, or if you have a phone number, call them. But another simple thing to do is just simply Google it. Social Security letter, login.
Okay.
Google it, and then it'll show up. The first 5 research things will be like, yes, this is legitimate, or no, this is a scam. So good on you.
That's gov.org, I think, and ID.me are the
Yeah.
two that everybody's
Yeah,
using.
Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are the 3 things that they are going to use, and you have to be so very careful with because it's so important to everybody.
My question is, what is law enforcement doing to,
Oh, what is law enforcement doing?
what is law
Sure.
enforcement trying to do to disrupt the scamming?
Sure. So I'll tell you what we're doing. I'm going around and I'm coming to the library. I'm going to Babcock. I'm going to Vintage Park tomorrow. So the only thing we can really do, and I'm here to tell you, the only thing we can really do is work upstream. Try to get folks to know not to fall for it, because the chances of us bringing somebody to justice, because these people are not here, and so back 8 years ago or whatever, when I was a detective, Snapchat was a big thing, big kind of new deal. Bad guys were using Snapchat because when we would go in and serve subpoenas and warrants on Snapchat, those servers are housed in Eastern Europe. Our search warrants have no jurisdiction whatsoever on those places, so therefore we could not get the information. So we're kind of in that same place right now, to where there's just, our hands are really tied, and the best thing we can do is education. So that's why I'm hoping that everybody in here tells 5 different people what. So sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you. I wish I'd tell you we're going to go arrest them all. Well, the thing is, and that was where I was talking about how they're able to call through the internet and use my phone number to make it, and so they immediately change it. They'll call back from 2 different numbers, and so once you, as my grandma would say, once you get your head in, your ass is sticking out. Once you plug one hole, a new one is created. Yeah, my grandma, she was something else. See, yes, sir.
I use an app called AV.com, which you can use with Google, and it uses a filtering service for putting suspect mail into junk.
Nice.
So here's one I just got. The Office of the Commissioner of Police, Cybercrime Cell Computer Center, Police Headquarters, New Delhi, India.
Ah, yes. I know, I talk to them all the time. Yeah. Yeah, no. Again, it doesn't pass the eye test. It doesn't pass the smell test. So good on you for doing that. I use Gmail, and Gmail is actually pretty good about filtering that stuff through. But again, it also gives you kind of a false sense of security when one does make it through, and you're like, oh, well, it made it through Gmail's, whatever it is they do. So, yeah.
I have something that I signed up for a long time ago on Verizon.
I have a bunch of those too.
That alerts me when it's suspected spam and gives me a little gauge that says how serious they
Sure.
think it is.
Yeah,
As soon as I see suspected spam, I just hang it up.
right.
The other thing I've done in the past is if I'm not sure where a call is coming from,
Right.
I suspect it's probably not something I want to take, but it could be.
Uh-huh.
I will answer the phone, but be silent.
Yeah, don't say hello.
Don't
Yep.
say a word.
Yes.
And if it's a scam, they'll hang up.
Yep. So for a while there, you would get a phone call, and when you would click on it, when you would pick it up and you would say hello, then you would hear a click. Hello, I need to speak to so-and-so. That's because they're calling multiple numbers at one time, and they're only connecting to the ones who answer. So if you don't say hello, then, but on the flip side of that, and I want to say the thing you have that kind of alerts you, again, it can give you a false sense of security in that, so an email or a phone call or something gets all the way to you, and you're like, well, it made it through all my safeguards, it might be okay. Still be skeptical, absolutely. So I'm a pants and or belt and suspenders kind of guy, so no risk.
My son tends to, if there's something questionable, he answers the phone in Quiche.
It's a Mayan.
Yeah, so Quiche, it's a Mayan language. Nobody knows what he said, so they're going, huh, what? They won't talk to you.
Yeah, and you see, there's a lot of great videos out there of folks messing with scammers, and those are great, but I don't have the time for it. You know, just don't answer, but yeah, that's hilarious. Yes, ma'am.
The best thing is just to not, not answer anything and so forth. But I just wish people knew that if you get a phone call, it may be a recorded one or whatever, saying this is Social Security, your number's been compromised, I used to work for Social Security, or whatever scam it is, people, like you say, panic. But if everyone just realized, most of the time, they have not asked for you by name. No one from any agency is going to call up, not know if they even got the correct phone number, and certainly not know if the right person answered, and not verify who you are before they tell you something's wrong with your account.
Yeah, I mean, they're the Social Security. They should know. It's kind of like in the 90s when it was all those the mind readers that would have their 1-900 numbers, and some comedians like, well, if they're that good, shouldn't I just think about it and they should call me? You know what I mean? But yeah, Social Security, they should be able to say, so-and-so, and your last four are this. They should, yeah, absolutely, or they should be able to provide it upon request. Yes, ma'am.
I subscribe to 4 different newsletters, one from the FTC, one from Scamicide, one from Krebs on Security, and one from I don't know. And so I'm getting emails all the time. I'm not emails, I'm getting newsletters that are telling me what the current things are, what to do. And right now, with AI, you should not have your name, oh, hi, this is Mary, leave a message. You should just have it go to a computer, because AI only needs 20 seconds or 30 seconds, and they can spoof your note.
That's perfect. I mentioned AI. So your county clerk, Jamie Shue, he went to a training and came back and told me this story, that they were all county clerks, and they had one of them read just a passage from a book or a little quick paragraph. An hour later, they came back in, utilizing AI, they created a phone call that could go out to every voter, and all it said was, polling places are closed tomorrow. Love, Jamie Shue, or whatever that guy's name was. And it was in his voice. So they were able to create a message, craft a message, to keep, and so that's the level to which AI is getting, and it's only going to get better or worse, however you want to look at it. So, yeah, great, thank you.
Does it really help to report the fraud to the Federal Trade Commission? I think I went through trying to do that once, and you don't hear anything back, and you wonder, does it really do it any good?
No. And why I say that is there is so much happening all the time. They are so similar. Just like this scam call. AG's office, FBI, all the DOJ, they have all tried to investigate this because we know this is coming from within the United States. You can tell by their voice. They sound like they're from probably South Texas. It's kind of an authoritative, not deep Southern drawl, but it's Southern, and they're authoritative males, and you can tell that they are from around here. They have a very good articulate language. They have tried everything to try to figure it out, and these guys are one step ahead of them. And so the FTC, on a grand scale, is just inundated with all of this stuff. But the caveat to that is if you get something that is more than just somebody's phone number they called from, the email address they called from. If you get some sort of crumb of evidence or crumb that you think could actually lead to them, absolutely call. That's what they need. They need something. Some scammer slips up and gives their last name or something, or where they're from. Stuff like that is super helpful. But as far as just reporting that I got a scam phone call, I got a scam email, it's really probably not gonna, it's just gonna waste both your times, really. I mean, let's just be honest about it, so.
Okay, any other questions from the membership? Yep.
Jay, do you have any general advice for those of us who still have landlines,
Yeah.
answering machines?
Yes. No,
With our friendly names?
yeah, well, take your friendly name off of it.
Okey-doke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hold on to it because it's going to be, the museums are going to need them at some point here very soon. But I actually think it's probably advantageous in this where all they can do is call, and you cannot transmit anything other than what you tell them over a landline. So I would say that it's probably even a little bit safer, but then now I say that and then something's going to go terribly wrong, and you're going to tell me I owe you money now. But I would say that you're probably even a little bit better off. My mom still has her landline, and every time it rings, my kids are like, "What in the hell is that?" Like the clampets when the front door would go off. So, but it's probably a little bit just another level of safety. So if you feel safe using it for business stuff and that kind of stuff, I'd say go ahead. You're going to be the only level of safety of what goes out. So, and I like my odds in that situation. So.
Any further questions here? Okay, I'm going to
Justin,
make.
let Justin ask me a question.
Okay.
You got a
call.
question about scams?
Hey, Sheriff, I'm wondering if you're aware of any scams taking place in your jails, and I'll tell
No.
you why I'm asking about that is because the first time that you had me unlawfully arrested back in April of 2022, I went to pay my bail on a phone system in there, and I was saying it as quiet as possible because in that jail there's pods everywhere, and you can hear a pin drop in there. And within a day or two, I had $850 taken out of my bank account, and so I called my bank and I asked what was going on with them, and they said it was a charge down in Atlanta, Georgia, at a Walmart. So I called out Walmart, and they said they had people go in there with my card information that I used to bail myself out at your jail.
Sure.
And bought 2 gift cards totaling $850. Sure. I got that money back from my bank, but I'm just wondering if that's an issue in your jail, because in the second time that you had me unlawfully arrested back on May 1st of this year, I wasn't going to pay on that card because I know that something's not secure in that jail.
You still have that same card?
It don't matter, man.
Okay.
I'm just saying that there's something going on in that jail, and I heard you quick right away say no, that there's no issue, but I'm telling you, there's something
Well,
going on
I guess
there,
my
man.
question to you would be, did you report that to us? Because
That wasn't
that's
so
the first
bad, was it? That was a legitimate question.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Justin. That's the first I've heard of it, and so I have not heard this before. If it is, that's something that we use a third-party vendor for that, and so anytime any information is given over the phone, there is always, and humans are involved, there is potential for misuse. I had the same thing happen to me, but it wasn't after I hadn't been arrested. But what had happened was I had a charge at a Belk store, which is like a Macy's or a Jones store in North Carolina. And it was for there was 2 charges. One was for $2.50, and the next one was for $600. And that's what they do is if they use a card for a tiny amount, and then when it works, they hit you with a big one. I called out there, they pulled the surveillance. The gentleman in the back has a question. They pulled the surveillance, and they looked, and you can watch the register, and this guy walks up, and he lays out 6 bright white credit cards, no insignias on them, and the lady behind the counter swiped one, it declined it, swiped one, it declined it, swiped one, declined it. Then one of them hit, and then he made a bigger purchase with that exact same blank card. That card, he had ghosted somehow, got my number, and ghosted it onto another card and used it in North Carolina. So that has happened. Again, as they said, your bank will reimburse you that money because that is a fraudulent charge, but it is a pain in the ass to go through that. So yeah, that's tough. Yes, sir.
Jay, is this, I'm sorry, that's loud.
That's all right.
Is this PowerPoint available online somewhere through the Sheriff's Department where we can make that available, local media can make that available? And then my only follow-up to that is I sincerely appreciate what you just did in helping the library avoid another lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Can I just answer part of that?
Yeah.
This recording, this entire session will be recorded and it'll be on the library YouTube channel, which is available to the public from the library, lplks.org. And then your call, whether you want to pass on the slide.
We have a few handouts with some phone numbers, but we'll gladly, if you want it, we'll give it. We just don't have it public facing, but we can. So, does anybody have anything else?
Okay.
No? Okay. I really appreciate you coming out. I was expecting 2 or 3 folks, but I got to see, this is fantastic. But if you can just go and tell one other person about what we talked about tonight, that's huge. But again, just remember, call us. Call Lawrence PD, call whomever. If you're in Baldwin, call Baldwin. If you live in Franklin County, call them. Let somebody else have a look at whatever you think might be questionable. But other than that, I really appreciate you coming out and spending your Thursday evening with me. And so thank you very much, y'all.
Okay, let's thank the sheriff. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the time. I will note one thing that came up, and I'm just going to refer to an earlier session we had with some of the verification people that we talked to from KU. One of the things on the email that came up that they said, click on this, and it said gobbledygook / something credit union, whatever the credit. Truity CU. If it says Truity CU after the slash, if it was Truity, it would say Truity CU / whatever department it was. So if it doesn't start with the place you're looking for, you know that's a clear sign as well.
Truity, their email address would be customerservice@truitycu.com/
all this other gobbledygook, yeah, whatever it is. So that's just, I'm just repeating that from an earlier session.
But if it ends in .ru, that's Russia. .on is something else. That means they originated outside of the country.
Okay.
.ca is Canada.
All right. So we're gonna call it a night call it a night now. And I appreciate all of you coming here. We'll see you in September for the next Tech Club, or we'll see you for the next event here whenever, whichever new event you're coming to. I think we have coffee next week. We have Sundowner the following week, whatever that is. So thank you all for coming. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.